always a fun for Saturday night's instant reaction show to project the new AP Top 25. It's an article that some handsome man writes for CBSSports.com. You can go check it out there. So let's hash it out there.
Better
so where
looking last week.
Where do you think the Cougars will land in the new AP Top 25 after a 38-35 win against Oregon State?
I would hope. I would hope they would climb a few spots. It's just I feel like the window works against them. Like I don't know how many people, because like they come in at 21, they pick up a win over 14. I would think that they could get to the top 15 based on the fact that they're undefeated and other teams, losing. But I just wonder if they kind of get lost in that middle of the day mix with all the other games that were going on. If like people won't really understand like what this team did, even though, it did get kind of dicey there in the fourth quarter.
All right. So teams that they definitely will jump because those teams lost, and unless the pollsters just do something absolutely crazy. Ole Miss, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So that gets them up 2 spots, like 19-ish. And Oregon State. So that's 1 more to 18. They should jump Oklahoma.
They'll
honestly.
jump. No. I can start. They'll jump the ACC trio. North Carolina, Duke, Miami, all beat unranked teams.
Yeah, that's fair.
And guess what? You know what Oregon State was? Respected by the AP Top 25 voters.
It was.
Yep.
AP voters loved this Oregon State team. This Oregon State team was at number 14 in last week's poll. So you got a top 15 win, compared to Oklahoma playing with its food at Cincinnati, compared to, kind of routine wins for those teams that were sitting there at number 17, number 18, and number 20. Tom, I think you've got it. I think that they'll be in there 14 or 15. I've got them projected at 14, behind Alabama, but 1 spot ahead of Oklahoma.
I don't know if they'll get that high. I think they should be that high. I mean, just based on the resume, because like that Wisconsin win looks a lot better after what Wisconsin did against Purdue on Friday night. Like, it's like, oh wait, maybe Wisconsin isn't terrible.
All right, let's play the game that's more fun up top. Where do you think Ohio State will be? Not should, will be.
Well, they're at 6. Nobody in front of them lost. They'll be at. They might jump USC, but Georgia won, Michigan won. They're not going to fall out of the top 2. Texas actually played like Texas did the thing Texas never does, where it didn't play down to its opponent. It actually just took care of business and beat Baylor's ass. So Texas should stay at 3. Florida State beats Clemson. They're not going to drop them. USC is messing around with Arizona State. Ohio State climbs to 5.
Is there any chance that Michigan gets punished for just not dominating people?
They haven't been punished for it yet.
I know.
Yeah. So
as a resume's improved for everybody else.
I am actually, as vibes as I am about 90% of the things that I talk about on this show. This is one spot where I do get scientific and I look at the voting points and look at the ballots and kind of break it down to try to actually project not like where somebody should be, but how many decisions need to be flipped in order to make these kind of moves. The gap is like Georgia tier, Michigan tier, and then everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Ohio State at 3.
Yeah, there were fewer points between number 3 Texas and number 6 Ohio State in the poll last week than there were between Michigan and Texas.
Yeah. So I think that enough decisions will be changed based on going to Notre Dame and winning that football game, that small gap can be overcome. And the Buckeyes with Florida State doing something that is, like not going to be punished necessarily. Texas, I think, probably met expectations. And you're not going to see anything spectacular. I would like to talk about that, though, because I do have one strong thought. But I believe the Buckeyes are going to be number 3 behind Georgia and Michigan, just because of those teams that are in that very, very small margin, they're the one that had the most impressive win.
So you would put them over Florida State, which blew out LSU and went on the road and won at Clemson.
That's not the you're asking me.
Right. I'm saying, like, you think that's what the voters are going to do? Like, that's like recency bias, like crazy.
I think enough voters will change their mind on that based on a 10-0 deficit, having to battle back and not even leading. Hey, Bud, let me take you in the Wayback Machine. It's 2014. And you know what word or what phrase I have for you? It's 2 words.
Game control.
Yes, sir.
Well, but yeah, and look, that's true because like Florida State's an ACC team, right? And like they don't apply it to SEC teams, apparently.
I just lost 20 pounds in the last 10 seconds.
Did Indiana beat Akron?
Did they? I don't know. I lost track. I feel like Indiana's like so grateful for Northwestern with that comeback against Minnesota that nobody was paying attention to the fact they were in overtime with Akron. No, I'm going to put all my chips in on Ohio State at 5 tomorrow.
At 5. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Other notable movements. Will Colorado be ranked in the top 25?
No, and they should not be ranked at the top 25 again this year.
You can't lose that badly and still be ranked.
Yeah, and that like you had 39 yards through 40 minutes of play. You don't belong on the same field. Definitely not.
New arrivals that I'm projecting, the Missouri Tigers, who I thought would probably be ranked after beating Kansas State. They were not. The Kansas Jayhawks after 4-0. So how about this one? The Kansas Jayhawks 4-0 in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 1915.
Wow.
Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky Wildcats 4-0 for the 3rd consecutive season. We haven't seen Kentucky be 4-0 in 3 consecutive seasons since 1911. Buddy, we got pre-Great Depression basketball school streaks that are happening. This is what happened, but I know you're going to get mad.
Kentucky should not be ranked. Sorry,
Look,
Kentucky should not be ranked.
I am predicting voter behavior, and here's what happens when you get to spots 19 through 25. It's September 23rd, and you're like, who's 4-0? And simply being a power conference 4-0 team is going to end up in there. So I have Missouri, I have Kansas, I have Kentucky, all in there. Shout out to our blue blood basketball schools.
I have another Power 5 4-0 team you haven't mentioned yet.
Maryland.
There you go. They've won an average. They're 4-0 and winning by an average of 25 points per game. They have not played anything closer than an 18-point game yet this year.
And if Missouri, which was in a sticky situation, had lost, then Maryland was going to be my next team in.
So who do you have dropping out?
Colorado, UCLA, Iowa.
So Notre Dame stays.
Florida gets to stick around.
What the?
Yeah, got him.
You think they're dropping Notre Dame out?
No, I don't.
Of the teams that lost on Saturday, who I think will remain in, I don't think Ole Miss falls all the way out for losing at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
They should.
Can we talk about that game next?
Like, they look like crap against Georgia Tech for the most part, and then like blew it open late. They really struggle with a Tulane team without Michael Pratt. Like Tulane or Ole Miss is a total fraud and should not be ranked. Like that's just. I know it's not Chip's vote. It's what he anticipates Polster's doing, which I think he's probably right. But like Ole Miss should not be ranked.
Ole Miss stinks. The only reason Ole Miss has been ranked the entire time is because, like I've joked, and it's a joke, but it's not really a joke. Voters get to the end of their ballot, aren't sure what to do, and see an undefeated SEC team and throw them in there.
All right.
And that's why Ole Miss is there. But Ole Miss is like Alabama played very, very poorly today.
Mm-hmm.
And Ole Miss had numerous chances to, take that game and win that game. And they never had a chance. Like they led early, and then they just never really gave themselves a chance to win the game. They gave Alabama a billion chances, and Alabama finally took advantage of them and just put it away in the end. It's just that's not a good team, man. They're going to finish 8-4 at best, maybe 7-5.
Who would you take on a neutral? Ole Miss or some of these unranked teams? Ole Miss, Clemson.
Clemson.
easily. Ole Miss, Missouri.
Missouri.
I'm not 100%
I'm not
locked
100
on it,
yeah.
but I could see. I think that's a coin flip.
We're taking Kansas State over Ole Miss.
Yes.
Healthy Will Howard?
Will Howard played tonight.
But just based on who they're running out there right now.
Yeah, Kansas State beats Ole Miss.
Does Kansas beat Ole Miss?
Good, yeah.
Probably pretty close.
Maryland could beat Ole Miss.
Possibly, yeah.
Like their defense, I say they stink. Their defense, especially their run defense, is actually pretty good.
Yep.
Their offense stinks.